Should I start it?
Okay, breathe. Everybody breathe. Because this is like a must. It's like 3 musts. Yeah. It's like mindful eating, mindful reading, mindful listening.
Thank you very much. And once again, welcome to the Spirited Society of Virginia. And we'll start today's meeting with a reading from Our Daily Bread, chapter 109, entitled The Three Musts. Jesus, recorded by Luke, chapter 11, verse 9. Thus I say to you, ask and it shall be given to you, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened to you. Emmanuel then writes, ask, seek, and knock. These three musts, recommended by Jesus, were not spoken without special meaning. In the tangle of the struggles and deaths of the earthly experience, it is crucial for people to learn to ask for a pathway to freedom from the old chains of suffocating conventions, sterile prejudices, empty devotions, and unbreakable habits. It is necessary to vehemently and decisively desire to get out of the dark thicket in which most individuals have lost sight of the eternal interest. Immediately thereafter, it is imperative to seek. Seeking consists of selective effort. The field is loaded with inferior attractions, some of which are adorned with luring appeal. It is crucial to find the worthy and sanctifying way to act. Many run after dangerous mirages, like moths fascinated with the light of the fire. They come from far away, get too close to the flame, and consume the blessing of their body. It is imperative to learn to seek what is truly good. Once the spiritually constructed path is established, the time comes to knock on the door of spiritual growth. Without the mallet of methodical effort and without the chisel of goodwill, it is extremely difficult to sculpt the resources of the corporeal life into luminous works of divine art meant for spiritual happiness and eternal love. It is not enough, therefore, to pray without direction, to seek without examination, and to act without a lofty objective. Let us ask the Lord to free us from primitive anonymity. Let us seek the realm of sublime spirituality and work for our place within it in order to make ourselves faithful instruments of the divine will. Ask, seek, knock. This trilogy of Jesus holds a special meaning for students of the gospel in every era. That's what is our theme? What is our theme in Spiritism? Ask, seek, and knock. We talk about seeking the good, feeling the good, thinking the good, saying the good, and doing the good. Making this a habit in our life is something we need to work on every day. God gives us an opportunity each day to think, to say, and to do the good. And let us make sure we take advantage of at least one of those each day.
Right, so let us pray. But remember, prayer is not a ritual. And as we are praying together, we're doing an exercise of mind over matter. And we're doing an exercise to strengthen ourselves from within. Dr. Herbert Benson from Harvard, one of the leading authorities in complementary medicine, he shows to us in his scientific studies that when we pray, we're changing the rhythm of our breathing, and thus the activation of genes and deactivation of bad genes, So we are operating in all dimensions. Another thing of the imagination, it's so real that it touches our physical body as well. But we know that prayer is communication with God, and there's no better phone number than God's number. And that number, everybody has this number. If they don't, it's just a matter of closing your eyes and feeling it, right? So let us feel ourselves dialing the number of God and saying, dear God, so good to talk with you. To know that you are with us always, in good and bad times. And to know that you have a special educational curriculum for us. That you embrace us with your loving kindness and invite us to the new always and every day. May we be courageous to experiment the good new, the good for everyone, and leave the realm of our selfishness and fears, hesitations. At this moment, we visualize everyone in this blessed country, the United States of America, a nation that embraces us with so much abundance and generosity. We feel one with everyone, willing to partake in everyone's lives, collaborating with their own progress as we progress ourselves. We visualize the spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists that are here in your name to treat us and our loved ones, rescuing those who are in great need of love, healing, and most of all, peace. Feeling your blessings. We ask for your guidance, protection, as you generously grants us the permission to begin our therapeutic session this morning. And so be it. All right. Our children are invited in. I know we have a few because it's still summer. Soon it's going to be crowded again. But Ms. Luciana has a beautiful lesson today. Ben Franklin's virtue when he teaches about silence. So let us see what he has to say. We'll know later or not because they'll be in silence, right? We don't know. You never know. But now it's our turn to make our connection. We have a specific theme today that may be very helpful. Okay, this is the theme today. Our mental connections. As we are here now, we're connected, not only through the phones, but mind to mind, not only here, but elsewhere. So powerful that there is a story in this book that is not yet in English because it's not even a spiritist book. It's a Brazilian famous journalist who wrote a book about Chico Xavier, about the lives of Chico Xavier. You can find it at Amazon Kindle and read it in your phones, tablets. But there are many important things for us to learn. But there is a moment here that he shares a story that became quite classic. One day, it was an evening, and somebody, a woman, came to the spiritist center in Peter Leopoldo, where Chico Xavier was born. And this woman said that she had a very, very painful headache. And it says here that as soon as Chico said, sit down, listen to the message that we're going to read, the headache disappeared. It was just like that. Emmanuel later explained to us that her headache was due to a disagreement with her husband, though he physically did not touch her body. Vibrationally, he punched her. Vibrationally. Now it's another type of domestic violence, vibrational violence. But it could be the reverse. It could be from a wife to a husband, parents to children, children to parents, amongst friends and colleagues at work, people emanating mental darts, and we perceiving it. And it caused such a concentration of negative energies in her ear that created that difficult state of headache. So Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, one of the spirit doctors that used to come through Chico to prescribe homeopathic remedies, he said, give her passes. And when he did it, a load of negative energies came out of her ears. It may sound like science fiction. It's up to us if we agree on it or not, but we spiritists truly know, we don't believe, we know that the eyes cannot perceive everything that happens to us. And that's why we're going to march towards this study today. And not to think about what others are doing to us, but what we are doing to others. It's not for us to go home and say, oh, that's why I got sick, because that person's making me sick. No. Am I creating that disturbance in people's lives? Because some people claim, oh, I just want to be alone and on my... No. When you think you're alone, you're not alone. You may not have other physical people aside, but you have lots of other discarnate beings. And if this gathering of ours in this lonely time or alone time is not beneficial to the general whole, we are creating a problem for the whole household and for the neighborhood. What we're going to talk about tells us about the dynamics of our thoughts, the physiology of our thinking, feeling. And it's written in this book, Mechanisms of Mediumship. Basically, Andre Luiz shares with us that thought is matter. Of course, it's not the one we're seeing here, but if my phone can be connected to your phone without any wire, and this phone doesn't have any brain like ours, you think our brain doesn't have a Wi-Fi to connect with 10,000 people, millions of people, billions of people? What would we say? Of course we can connect with even more. And it's more than a 5G or anything that we have created, because we're never going to come close to God's creation. But thought is matter to the point that it's formed by particles. Andre Luiz, just so you know, the vocabulary in this book is very thorough. He says that our thought is formed by corpuscles, corpuscular formations, almost like atoms, and that can be negative and positive, creating what we say mental matter. As we feel and think, we're creating. Even if you say, I want to be in my bedroom, I want to be far away so I don't disturb. No, there's no way. You can be in China, but if your feelings and thoughts will be towards us, you are here. The physical body is somewhere else. Oh, but I'm not thinking of you. Yeah, but when you think, you're not thinking positively. It may be in the back burner of our minds, but we're there, emanating. And when we are emanating, we are attracting. And that's exactly what he's going to say. This mental matter is a subtle instrument of our will. So you and I, on Earth nowadays, the ultimate frontier for us to conquer is not the moon, Jupiter, Mars, but to learn how to think and how to feel. If there is a goal we need to keep in mind every day is today, may I think more wisely, feel more lovingly. I remember in 2003, visiting friends, spiritist friends in Boston, Massachusetts, and Divaldo Franco, the spiritist medium, was there for his talk, and there was a great snowfall after the event, and I had to go back to Baltimore, where I used to live, and he had to go next to New York. I couldn't take the plane, he couldn't either. So we all had to take the train. The train station was packed, like hundreds of people, and the snow was too falling. God made it in such a way that in the middle of 10,000 people, somebody found him. You see how good spirits are. This man came, we didn't ask for anything, saw him and asked me, are you with him? I said, yes, I guess. Now I am. Said, so is he taking the train? Yes. So come with me. So we got into a very empty cart. And then when we got into the car, the train car, nobody was there. He closed it. We sat down and he said, I got in. I was a little worried. But then I saw Joanna DeAngelis here, his spirit mentor. She smiled at me. When she does that, it means everything is all right. It's funny. He sat down, and you think he would take that train trip without doing anything? He had his mini laptop. And he is now 95. Now you do the math, 2003, he was not so much younger. He got his laptop, opened it up to do his works. But then he said, Vanessa, I remember when I traveled to India to see the Sai Baba, because a friend of mine knew Sai Baba, a spiritual leader who used to materialize golden watches and stuff and do a lot of healings, etc. And I was like mesmerized to know the story. I didn't ask a question. It wasn't needed because he was talking and talking. And he said, when I met the Sai Baba, we were in this private meeting. There was a translator next to me. And he asked me, what do I need? Back then, I had a heart condition. So then I said, I need to heal my heart. The Sai Baba touched his chest with a finger. And that was enough. He never felt a thing thereafter. But more than that, he said, I learned, he said. The Sai Baba turned to me and said, you need to feel good things, think good things, visualize good things, and do good things. As if he didn't, because he was already doing it. So learning how to feel and to think, because speaking and doing is just a consequence. So today we're going to do a mini test to see where we are with our feelings and thinking. Because we need to tweak it. And to do what the Sai Baba said to Divaldo Franco, to change it. To create a mental matter that is more beneficial to everybody. Instead of, sometimes people don't say anything, but they're close to us, willing that we give them, that we understand them, that we do this, that, and that. It's like they're takers. They're not givers. And giving doesn't mean speaking, because it's vibration. So, Andre Luiz says that when we create this mental matter, we create mental waves because there's frequency, and these mental currents will vitalize ourselves, our vital centers, the centers of the soul, the chakras, as we say in other traditions. So see how important it is to think and to feel. How often Virginia and I talk about things, and I say, Virginia, when we are saying something, it first stays in us. If I say to the dog, bad dog, that bad thing is inside of us. So I wouldn't hear Jesus saying bad dog to any dog. Not even to the dead dog. He said, beautiful teeth, this putrefying dog's body had. Do you see how far we are? We're far. So we need to adjust. So today we're going to do an exercise, okay? Let me just double check if the order of this I just changed here. But we want to identify how close or how far we are from creating happy mental currents, good mental matter that benefits everybody. Because when it benefits only us, it's not beneficial to everybody, so it's bad for us too. Selfishness doesn't benefit anybody, not even us. So, at Harvard University, they have a lab named Stress and Developmental Lab, which is very interesting, where they study these and much more, how to change negative patterns of thoughts. And they categorize. They say there is a type of negative thought that is all or nothing thinking. It's like this. You go for a walk, everything's well, and then you trip. You come back home, somebody asks, how was this? Oh, terrible. Everything was beautiful, but one fall means everything is bad. That is a negative thought pattern. Okay? Just so we know. It's scientifically categorized as a negative thought pattern. How can we be happy and move forward and progress if we think that way? We can't. Overgeneralization. It's like one thing happened. Oh, a Brazilian came to my house and stole something. So all Brazilians in the world are like that. No, not true. That's a negative thought pattern. And I'm saying Brazilian because I'm Brazilian, so I can say Brazilian. Okay? Mental defeat. It's when I think, yeah, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. It's a negative pattern. Disqualifying the positive. You already know what it means. That's a given. Jumping to conclusions is considered a negative thought pattern. When people are talking, say, I know what you're talking about. Or they complete the sentences. That's a negative thought pattern. No, we don't know. When we work in psychology and psychiatry, we learn we have to listen and listen and listen. That doesn't mean we know what the person is talking about, because not often they say exactly what's happening. So we don't know. We don't jump to any conclusions. How often in the spiritist literature we're going to see the negative pattern of thinking like this and creating true stories in our minds that are totally negative because we assume things that are not real. Right? Catastrophizing. It's a classic thing. People who are suicidal, they tend to dramatize, catastrophize things. But not only them, we do too, or minimize. Somebody comes and says, I have such a headache. Oh, it's nothing, forget about that. That's a negative thought pattern, to minimize the things or to maximize them. Emotional reasoning. We tend to think this is good, but it's not. Because emotional reasoning here would be when, for example, we feel something and we disregard the roots and the causes, thinking, I'm fine. And I didn't work on it. I just put it aside. And science and spiritism shows to us that we need to learn how to deal with emotions without shutting them down by our reasoning, which Freud said, in other words, is a mechanism of defense of the ego. Rationalization. When we say, no, I'm fine, nothing's happening. No, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel not well and talk to friends and talk to a therapist, to talk to a doctor and say, now I need some time to heal. But when we are just rationalizing it, we tend to feel it's the right way, but it's not. It's just a defense of the ego. Or when we use the should statements. I should have done this. You should. It's actually the critical parent inside of us trying to police us. If you had done this, if I should have invested 30 years ago, my friend. You didn't, and the good spirit didn't think you should, okay? So stay cool. Get out of that negativity, because that negativity is not helping you today. The should didn't happen, and it's never going to happen. It's a negative pattern. Labeling or mislabeling. That's a given. Like when we don't recognize things as they are, or when we go overboard labeling people and things and scenarios as well. This is a kind of negative pattern as well. And finally, personalization, when we tend to refer to ourselves often as if we're the center of the world, and if the world is not like us, the world is bad. These are negative thought patterns that I had to give a quick glance, because we don't have much time, but now we can think of this and test inside of us. I have 4 pictures here, 4 scenarios I'm going to show to us. Let us take a look. Observe the first thought that comes, the first feeling with that image. And then we'll talk at the end. I'll go to the next. And the next. And the next. Now when we go back, now we can realize where we are. Are we people who are thinking very positive from the get-go, feeling positively? Or do we look at this picture and feel otherwise? And see something that is off, that is not right. Because pure spirits like Jesus would look at this picture. What would potentially Jesus feel or think if looking at this man and the cat?
Love.
Love. But did we feel that when we saw the picture and the cat, the man? John you're kidding me. You're serious. We're not in Jupiter yet. We're on Earth. Some people will look at the hair, the beard, think he was depressed and he was lonely. And you see, it's our projection. Because the pure spirits wouldn't see what we're seeing. You see our tendency to think and feel negatively? For example, this picture. What would Jesus think? Potentially. How will we know, right? I don't know, because we're not there yet, but potentially. And we're seeing Jesus like to represent the pure spirits. But what would he think or feel? Anybody? He's listening to somebody intently. He's waiting for his wife, like for the wedding. Yeah. There you go. See how interesting we are. We have so many different takes on it. Now, here's one. What came up with this one?
Well, I found it beautiful. It's very intricate. It takes a lot of time to do.
Yeah. Some people would look at the nails. Done, not done. That's the need to label, right? Some people would think of the clothes, or the books, or the organization of the house, or, you see? We need to observe how we are perceiving the world. Some people would look at this and think about royalty and the people who are there seated, whereas the whole public is giving them money. You see? Labeling. We're always like projecting our negativity. Painting the world with dark colors, with our negative thought patterns. We're polluting the world. It's a disaster. Life cannot progress if we keep on this way. So we'll go back here. If we don't change the thought patterns, there's no happiness, there's no health, there's no wealth, there's no safe relationship in this world. Some people come to Spirit Center and say, take the obsessors away, but question, what are you doing to attract them? Because Kardec said in the Medium's book, chapter 23 about obsession, if you want the flies to go away, take the trash out. If we keep the trash in, creating trash with our own thoughts and feelings daily, how can we succeed in life with our own selves, not on the world, winning over the world, of ourselves? So we need to tell our children and teens, you need to focus on your minds. I remember when my parents, I was 16, we've always been spiritists, but my parents invited the 5 of us, but I was the only one who said, I want to take it. You want to take a course to learn how to think? It's the pro-life. In Brazil, they call pro-vida. I don't know if the movement here is in English. I have no idea. But it's interesting. They teach you techniques to think, to project yourself, your mind, to really use your mental capacity. And I'll never forget it. The techniques, what they said, because it goes hand in hand with spiritism, and we barely explore it. But our children need to be practicing this daily. What are you thinking? Is that positive or negative? Change it. You can change it. It's your choice. You're a child of God. You must change it. We must. So, as we look at the world, maybe in a first pass, we would say, oh, yeah, those people, lazy people. And we would say, probably we were there, and we're judging our very selves, right? And because we only criticize what we know. And if we were there, probably we would be terrible kings and queens and princes and princesses. Not like the adorable ones we see nowadays, the sweet Queen Elizabeth and her family, Prince William and Kate Middleton, who are always delighting us with their well-behaved life, very disciplined life. Maybe if we were there, we would be bad examples. Throwing parties, lavish parties, our sexuality going to the roof with misconceptions of life. So God bless them. They are teaching us a lesson on how to be a decent ruler, disciplined, not crazy. We don't judge them. We wish we could be like them. They're so fit. Dr. Dean Ornish, the leading authority in lifestyle medicine in the United States of America and the world, was invited by Prince Charles to give a talk on how to enter this realm of plant-based diet, how important it is for a healthy cardiovascular life, lifestyle medicine, how different this royalty is from the times in the past when we probably were there throwing lavish parties, when we were indulging in eating and drinking, etc., etc. And the new royalty that is showing us discipline, that is more refrained from this self-indulgence. The bottom line for us today is that there is a law of the mental field where, Andre Luiz explains, the individual, wherever we are in the universe, only absorb the influence that we connect or tune with. So no obsessor is going to come after us if we have not attracted it. We're not victims. If we want them to change their minds, let's change ourselves. That's the most important thing, to change us. Even people in our lives, why have I attracted these people? This morning at morning prayer, Emmanuel was showing to us that yes, we pray to God, please deliver us from evil, but do not run away from the battlefield with ourselves. Do not run away from relationships. Do not run away from the people God placed in our lives for us to learn to love. Now this, I had to bring the whole paragraph because it's masterful. He says, when we emit an idea, we begin to reflect that idea that will soon be manifested, depending on the intensity and the frequency of thinking of it. Thus, we spontaneously maintain communication with all individuals who think and feel just like us. So when we are there saying, I need some time for myself, never, ever we're alone. Never, ever. You may be not here with other family members or friends, but you are with other friends. And if what we're doing there is not very uplifting, be prepared. that gathering is not helping us. So as we think, and meet an idea means feeling and thinking. As we feel and think, we are projecting. And if we think and feel constantly in that direction with certain frequency and intensity, it's going to materialize. So when somebody says, oh, suddenly a boy came with a rifle or a gun and killed 10,000 people, all of a sudden, no, that's not all of a sudden. They've been thinking about this, they've been cherishing the idea for a while, and the adults who were nearby who didn't communicate, didn't care for, are co-responsible for that tragedy. I know we parents, there is a point in which you're like, we need a break. But when do they need us the most? We think it's when they are this age, right? No. When they grow older, that's when they need us the most. That doesn't mean we're going to be in their business, but we're going to be around. We're going to be attentive. We're going to see their body language change, the way they dressed. And we see it, if we observe when people say, they changed overnight. No, it's not true. It has been there. You have not seen it. If you don't live with your child, you cannot tell. Unless you are a professional expert. Or a very, 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 very loving parent. Because if we're very selfish, we'll see our child and say, oh yeah, they're happy, they're playing. And then suddenly, they enter drug addiction. No, they don't do this suddenly. We have not been paying attention. And the signs were there. They were there ever since. But we didn't do anything because we didn't pay attention. But let's turn to ourselves now. Question for us to take home and think. Who is in my network? My mental network. 1. Who is in my mental network? What kind of inner dialogues am I practicing every day that people don't see? That's why Mentor Joseph says daily, Vanessa, think of the trillions of pure spirits that exist in this universe, that are constantly caring for everyone. Think of them and feel willing to raise yourself to their vibration by doing good things for everybody, not only yourself. How do we raise our vibrations? Okay, so how do we construct, how do we enter this constructive mental currents? Though we are here, Jesus is somewhere connected to us. How do we connect? The more ennobled the conscience, the richer will be the imagination and mental power emerging from the soul. It means noble feelings, noble thoughts. If I think every day, wake up, I have to pay the bills, and I have to cook, to clean, take care of the child, and go to work, and take care of the car, and go to the doctor's appointment, it's very shallow. We're connecting with everybody who's thinking the same on earth. But Vanessa, aren't those things important? Yes. But you don't do this all day long. You don't think of paying the bills all day long. You pay the bill. And then you go to work to get more money to pay the other bill. But when you go to work, you don't, let's say my work is cleaning. I'm here cleaning the podium. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have to pay that bill. I have to go and have another place to clean. Or I'm at work, working on my computer. I have to finish this work. Oh my gosh, can't stand it anymore. Oh, another meeting. Who am I connecting with? Constructive mental currents? No. I'm connecting with everybody who is lazy, who is not aware of life, who doesn't know what they are doing. Destructive mental currents. What are they? Andre Luiz explains, when the soul externalizes the maladaptive and destructive mental waves, it attracts forces of equivalent content, often falling into obsessive blindness. Now, look at this word, maladaptation. What does that mean? Life is asking me, clean. I know people who clean houses, and I say, you have a job that could help the world. And they ask, how? When you enter people's homes, pray. Bless every object that they have. Be the instrument for the spiritual cleaning crew to cleanse the house in ways unseen. And you can change that family's life. When you work with somebody else's finances, bless those finances. Say a prayer for that client. We only think that doctors, nurses, psychologists, and educators are changing the world. No, we are changing the world where we are. If we are adapted to what we're being called, but when we're maladapted, we don't like where we are. We're always like, I don't like it. I can't wait to go home, do nothing. Can't wait to be out of here. That's majority of people on earth. That's a reality. And that means we are connected with bad minds that are like, yeah, you're right. Get out of there, do nothing. Because when you do nothing, we suck your energy. And that's why you have no energy. Because there are spirits who are sucking your energy. As we are in our laziness. We are at work just pretending we're working. But we're not working. Just looking at the clock. Can't wait to get out. How many family members get sick? Even our children. Because the caregivers, the parents, the teachers send a lot of bad energy. They may not say, they may not think physically, but they are like, oh, I don't have a break. I wish somebody could take care of my child so I could take my time for my own self. And we don't realize that this is creating a bad thing for our very children. But we can't have a good life until we change our mental attitude. That's a frontier. Mental attitude. What is our mental attitude? Because then we're identifying our mental interaction. So here is Andre Luiz giving us tips on how to raise our vibrations, how to change negative thought patterns, how to create good mental matter. He says, first, read a page. Which page? Facebook page. It depends. If you go to the SSVA Cardiac Creator, etc., it's a good page. But read good things, good books. You can change our lives. You change your frequency. You change the way you're thinking. Consulting a book to know how to proceed in life. A good conversation. Find good people who have good conversations. We need to choose our connections wisely. Helping everyone, but when it comes to our daily life, our private life, we will share with people who are on the same page, willing to grow spiritually. And tell our children. Because, they don't know any better. They start talking about their lives to everybody. I do this and I do that. And I was telling Virginia, you don't do that. Why? Because you know that on earth, not everybody's happy with everybody's happiness. Keep it for yourself. Listen to what the other children have to say. Make them happy. Be happy for them. Don't expect them to be happy with you. Because if you do, you're going to come home every day feeling frustrated. Because we're still living a very selfish life on earth. The interest focused on a subject puts us in spontaneous correlation with the incarnate and discarnate intelligence with which they harmonize. Through the mental loads we have accumulated, and we transmit in form of pictures, or I think something is missing here. It's like what Kardec says, we create thought forms. So as we think and feel, we connect. So if you're watching porn, you bet you're connecting with very sick incarnates and discarnates. Sick. For those who are mediums and can see spiritually, you're talking about monsters, deformities. Because these people look beautiful on the outside, but they are monsters. Monsters. Everybody who enters sexual addiction is deforming themselves there spiritually. They are attracting a lot of illnesses that will happen to them. And it will take lives to reharmonize themselves. And we, as we're studying life and sex on Fridays, the topic has been very present for us at the Spiritist Society of Virginia and Kardec Radio. Sexual addiction is more common than we imagine. People experience it without noticing. And our society not only does not help us, but induces us to go deeper into that abyss. Because they think it's about power. You seduce, you attract, and then you do what with that? But there's hope. Mary Magdalene is a symbol of how we can heal ourselves. We can. If we decide to get out of it, and we are going to receive a lot of spiritual help. She had several obsessors onto her. She attracted them. But she overcame it. And she became the symbol of what it is to be a winner over yourself. So much so that Jesus presented himself to her, not to his mother, to his disciples, but to her when he came back from physical death. To finalize, I'm going to drink water. That's the water we need. Tuning. Right? Andre Luiz, he's teaching us. We attune with the good. Persevere in the good. Never give up. That's how we connect with constructive mental currents. That's how we learn to connect with our wiser minds. And if you say, but Vanessa, I'm not the Dalai Lama, I'm not Mother Teresa, I'm not Chico Xavier, you don't need to be, you need to be you. But we need you to be you in the good. We need us to be good in the good. And all we need is goodwill. I remember Narciso was watching here with us from afar, but always present with us. When he was present at a meeting, he said, where there is a will, there is a way. Yes, never forget his very tone of voice. Where there's a will, there's a way. So if we're not getting what we want, it's because we're not putting focus. Will, says Andre Luiz, is a lever. In order to handle our mental currents, we have the lever of our will. So, I'm not feeling well. Well, let me use my will. Change it. Oh, I can't change it. Open a book. Okay, let's do a test now. Not feeling good. I just screamed at my child. Common daily parents thing sometimes, right? Oh, and then you open a passage and it says, let us be truthful, but above all, let us be righteous. And then I say, yes. I did it because I care for my child. I'll try a different way, but I care for my child. I go there and say, I'm sorry I said that way, but I love you. And let's find another way to work on this. But we're not going to give up. I'm not going to run away from my relationships. I'm not going to go home thinking bad about my boss. I need to pray for the boss and for the employers and for the colleagues, for the patients and clients and neighbors, everybody. With our will, we can change our mental connections. It takes goodwill. Emmanuel has this specific message, chapter 66 of the book Living Spring. How beautiful it is, the cascade of events. And as we finalize, it's like a mantra. I'm going to ask, you want to come here, Fabiana, to read it for us, please? He says, okay, let me see. Where's our daily bread? Our daily bread, right? It's our daily bread. You're right. Yeah, because we got confused. Yeah. No, but it's here. Come in. It's okay. That's how we change it. There you go. You see, there are two chapters, 66, goodwill, 67, ill will. And we're going to read the goodwill because it's only half a page long. But Emmanuel, in his wisdom, shares with us the power of our goodwill in our lives. Thank you, Fabiana.
Goodwill. See to it that you live prudently. Paul 5:15. Goodwill finds work to be done. Work leads to renewal. Renewal finds the good. The good expresses the spirit of service. The spirit of service brings understanding. Understanding brings humility. Humility wins love. Love leads to self-denial. Self-denial reaches delight. Delight promotes self-betterment. Self-betterment sanctifies the individual. The sanctified individual converts the world to God. Proceeding prudently through simple goodwill, the individual reaches the divine kingdom of the light.
See how powerful it is? Goodwill finds work to be done. So the first step of goodwill is action. Being useful. Like the one I'm going to do now. Because it's not the Living Spring. Don't get confused. We'll never forget it, will we? Yeah, we won't. Now we know. Now we know better. Okay, so it's from our daily bread. It should be done every day. Goodwill is like our daily bread. Okay, perfect message. Our daily bread by Emmanuel. That's the book. And as we talk about it, our ultimate connection is with the Christ. In this planet, we want to progress. And we're not being sectarians here because the Christ that we know is not the one that only Christians know. It's the one for all. Friends with Muhammad, friends with Moses, friends with Buddha, and everyone. They're all in the same team. It's all embracing. The Christ is our ultimate connection. Every day, As we turn the button of our goodwill, we are ready for action. From work to light. Goodwill. Telling Archie, you're bored, that's a sign of laziness. So let's find something to clean, something to organize, something to do. Because we don't want to be lazy, because that's ill will. And if you're curious about the end result of ill will, we'll read it. Just the end. From ill will leading to darkness, he says, it leads us to spiritual blindness and thus an abyss of darkness. So let's fine-tune our mental attitude to have happy connections and thus be better friends. All right? Anybody has a comment or a question before we move to the passes and the prayer? Yes, John, you have something to say?
Affirmation.
Affirmation.
Never run out of anything good to do.
Let me never run out of anything good to do. Thank you. Yeah, that doesn't mean a piece of chocolate in the mouth
Or we could phrase it.
or a siesta in the middle of the day.
Good to do for someone else.
Yes, good for all, right? That's the thing. Thank you, John, for the affirmation. So may our daily bread be goodwill. Let us feel the presence of the Christ. He's inviting us. Just talking to Rejani about how blessed we are here in Northern Virginia, but so privileged. It's shameful sometimes to be in so much privilege where not only in other countries, but in the United States alone, there is still a lot of poverty and inequalities and need for help. We need to do more. There's more to be done. So now let us calibrate ourselves as we're going to play the virtual passes. Soon, as summer is coming to a close, by September we'll be able to resume the magic passes as well. But the real deal is the spiritual passes, so we are not lacking anything. Let us feel the opportunity of being amongst the spirit doctors who are here. They know what we need. And they are here to share the good. You can find these virtual passes in male or female voice, in Portuguese, English, and Spanish at our website at the Spiritual Side of Virginia, and also Kardec Radio's website. And SoundCloud, right, Nate? SoundCloud and the full 9 yards of all the platforms you're taking care of. Let's go.
Welcome to the Virtual Passes Room. Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, once stated that thought is life. Thus, we can create the healing mental state right here and now. In preparation for the virtual passes, we would kindly recommend the following. Be certain that you have a real need to receive passes. Do not use the room simply out of curiosity. Casual visits to the room will negate its future benefits when needed. When using the room, have gratitude and show respect as you would when visiting a physical spiritist center. During the passes, Silently evoke God's protection as well as Jesus. Also pray to your guardian angel. Concentrate on positive thoughts, thereby avoiding negative ones. Breathe deeply, slowly, calmly, and confidently. Always be ready to pray. Let us begin this passage session by praying as our guide and model Jesus Christ has taught us. Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now let us feel that small points of suffering, bitterness, sadness, anger, deception disappear from your mind, not to return. Like aged leaves that are shed from trees, let go of those feelings no longer serve you, and gently, but most assuredly, discard them. Let the wind of life carry them so far away that they are unable to return and create their negative link. Little by little, your emotional tree sheds its negative feelings, becoming clean and ready for its renovation. Without the weight of those dead leaves, you feel lighter, and you're able to feel the gentle water of life now abundantly falling onto your physical body, spiritual body, and soul. This water cleans, disinfects, purifies, deconstructs, and tones all the cells of your body. Nothing can escape its renewing action. At the same time, it is cleaning and moisturizing your body. This crystalline liquid satiates your spirit, eliminating affliction, anxiety, and unrest. Now, within your heart, resides a sense of calmness, cleanness, and well-being. Then, the light of God emerges to warm and snuggle you, while carrying rays penetrate your whole body and tenderly embrace you like a maternal hug, which brings comfort and safety to your heart. At this moment, great love warms your heart and removes the coldness resulting from any affliction. Now, your mind contains only feelings of joy and confidence. You are at peace and enveloped by a protective warmth. The heart of life offers you perfumed flowers. Then, with grateful and happy soul, you gather their colorful petals that penetrate your whole being, restoring feelings and emotions of happiness, hope, faith, courage, and determination, helping you to regain the willingness to live. In addition to the perfume and color, nature also shares with you the best it has to offer, an infinite capacity for restoring its sublime beauty, even when struck by evil that appears to enact its end. Divine hands full of light gently overflow and spill all over you like a golden waterfall of unspeakable and unknown essence. Little by little, your soul is impregnated with sweet happiness, allowing an inner renewal of the most noble and elevated purposes that are of progress and accomplishment. showered by this sublime power, you deeply surrender to the donor of light, absorbing energy that now gives your life a new and blessed impulse. You called me, and here I am. What do you want from me today? What do you need? Ask, my son. Ask, my daughter. I am here to help. Now, ask your special request to Jesus, enumerating the problems and difficulties that afflict you. I listen to your request with love and attention. Now I count on your faith and trust in me to solve your problems. Go in peace. I am watching over you, and I will not lose sight of you. Believe in God and also believe in me. I will be with you every day until the end. Be happy. Many blessings.
We thank you, dear Master Jesus, for so much kindness and loving care, with much for us to celebrate in this life. May we press on the lever of goodwill and transform our daily lives. We feel blessed and grateful. And we thank God for bringing you to us with the wonderful news that we recap every day. May we go back to our lives willing to transform every thought and every feeling, every word and every action with love and peace. And so